Evening, guys. Obviously, we're disappointed. A little one comes to the end. But what I said to them in the end is that ultimately we've played a team that's just beat Orlando 5, Columbus 4, and if we defend across well and defend the throwing well, then we don't concede the 2 goals that ultimately cost us the game. In a moment when we were totally in control of the game and I thought totally on top, dominating, creating chances, causing them problems. And then the disappointment after that was that we lost our composure and we lost our composure. We started to do our own individual bits that we thought that would help the team, but obviously they just stuck to the plan like we did in the first 25 minutes. We would have continued to dominate, and that's my frustration. Is that when you have a little bit of a setback like the first goal, you just got to keep believing in what you're doing, and that was what give us a real good foundation in the game. And then ultimately, second half, I thought we were below the level, and then with 10-15 minutes to go, it was about consolidation, thinking about Wednesday really in terms of, because we weren't creating much chances. They were getting on top, and now it's about putting this behind us and moving on to Wednesday, which will be a really important game for us.
We'll get started with questions now. Franco, go ahead.
Thanks, Rafa. Phil, you said the players started doing, they didn't stick to the game plan after the first. I agree that you guys were the better team for the first 20 minutes up until New York City FC scored. Why is it that the players, when they suffered that setback, do you think that they lost focus and lost concentration of the game plan that you put forth and lost control of the game, as you said? And how do you go about correcting that? Thank you.
Well, I think it was players probably trying to do things to try and get us back in the game. And you've got to commend them on that. But ultimately, you have a game plan. You've got to stick to it. So the positions that we asked them to play in, the pockets that we wanted them to be in, and the way that we wanted to play, we had to continue to do that because it gave us such a great start to the game. I thought we were causing them so many problems. And then the minute that you just go off piste a little bit, they got momentum of the game. They could then smell it. And we stopped controlling the game. And we stopped controlling the game because we stopped passing the ball 1-2 touch to each other. And we started taking 3, 4, 5 touches. And that's where I say we started to do our own thing. You know, we worked really hard on playing 1-2 touch, controlling games of football, keeping the ball moving. And if you take 4, 5, 6, 7 touches on the ball at once, then you're going to slow the game down and they're going to get back in position and you lose control of the game. And that's my frustration and a little bit of anger tonight, is that we've got to get back to that. That's been our strength the last 4 games, our controlling games, our quality of our touches and passes. But ultimately, we've been on a 4-game run. Ultimately, it's still an important week with us now with home games to come. This was always going to be a really difficult game against an outstanding team, I've got to say, with outstanding front players that can cause you problems, that can run, that can take the ball, that can play in pockets that you don't want, it's difficult to mark. And they did that because there's problems. And when they got the second goal, it was always going to be an uphill struggle from there.
Lauren, go ahead.
Thanks, Rafa. Hi, Phil. The team showed signs of great football at times today. You had 2 great chances in the first half. How does the team bounce back with 2 home games up next?
Well, I think we have to bounce back, Lauren, because of the 2 home games. We know the importance of the 2 home games. They're with clubs that are in and around us in the conference. So there's no time to mope. There's no time to point fingers or start blaming and criticising. It's time just to. This league is brutal, where you just got to lick your wounds and move on. I've seen it with other teams. You know, they lose the game, they then go on another 4-game unbeaten stretch, and that's what we've got to do. We've got to bounce back now. We've got to show we can take this disappointment and move on to Wednesday night. And from the minute the final whistle went, my mind now focused to Wednesday night with no time to do anything other than that.
Back to Franco.
What was the game plan to start? You guys obviously had success in those opening 20 minutes. A lot of it came from more direct play. But what was the game plan in the formation that you switched to? It was slightly altered, and Lewis dropped in at times as a fifth defender. But what was the initial game plan that gave you that success in those opening 20 minutes that you got away from? Thank you.
Well, it was about outnumbering them in midfield. just like we've done in the previous 4 games. It's not rocket science at all. And we did tweak the formation a little bit. Victor and Blaise and Gregory played in midfield, which was fine. We'd been that way against Montreal, so it was always in the back of my mind that in these 3 games that system will be used. And we knew that they were so strong in that middle of the midfield with their, the 2 holding midfield players, the 10, the 7, the 11 like to fill those spaces. So we wanted to make sure that we had numerical advantage and at least numerical same numbers. So it was about creating and finding the spare players. And that's what we did in the first 20 minutes.
And then last question, Franco.
Thanks again, Rafa. Phil, this is officially the halfway point for the team. Obviously, you guys have been on a better run as of late. Tonight notwithstanding, how would you assess the first half of the season? And obviously, there's still a big push to go before making the playoffs in the second half, I imagine. Thank you, Phil.
Well, I don't think it's anywhere near where we wanted to be. Even though the last 2 or 3 weeks have provided a little bit of positivity and good feeling, we're nowhere near we want to be, nowhere near the level of consistent we need to be. And the players know that, I know that, the whole club knows that. We're taking baby steps. And we're now approaching the moment in the season where we've got to put our foot down on the gas. It's there for us if we want it. It's not as if we are, in a position where it's impossible. It's there for us if we really, really want it. And we really, really need to want to put the hard yards in. And if we do, we will be successful. If we don't, then we'll continue to be inconsistent. We'll continue to suffer like we have done in the first half of the season.